Yeah, I thought it was good, it's good weather, good day to us to practice 14, we got another one to go. But our spring's been pretty good, and the crowd to be like that, and the energy, I think it's just good for our kids, because they've been working hard, so I think it's kind of nice for them to feel a little support and all that. So great weather, and appreciate all the administrative help trying to generate stuff. We had a coach's clinic today, a youth clinic, middle school tryout thing for an all-star game. It was kind of cool, and more anything, just, a lot of people here, and it was a fun day. Questions? Good.
Just
Masters
about-
room. Right? They're making the turn right now. They're about on 12
I
right
think
now,
Bubba's leaving anymore.
and the wind's in his face.
I guess the question is, you've switched to 3-4 defense, and you had a whole spring to look at it. Where do you feel like it's at this point?
Well, I mean, I think our kids are excited, and I don't think they're close to what they can be. We make some mistakes, a couple of those runs when guys are supposed to cross face and cancel gaps that didn't, and a couple of runs popped on them. But I think the kids are enjoying it, understanding it. I think Coach Norr's done a really good job of leading it and getting his coaches on the same page of what to teach. But at the same time, it's a long way away. I think personnel-wise, it's going to fit. We do have a couple injuries with Antonio and Murphy being out at safety that's noticeable. I think the same thing there with the offensive line. A couple, Feeney and guys like that not going there. All those guys are probably a week or two away from me. If we played a game day, probably half of them would have played. But the front's going to be decent, and it's a very good starting point. And they've competed. They did give up a few big plays today. I know what I like is they now get frustrated when they're giving up things, and I think they're taking a sense of pride about what they need to do. And we'll see if we can continue to forge forward. It's not like the answer, we're not there, but it's moving in the right direction.
Rashad, they had the Noel Padmore, a couple of redshirt freshman corners, kind of caught my eye today. Fans picked where he cut underneath was nice. What have you seen from them this week?
Again, a little inconsistency, but some athleticism, some playmaking. They're younger guys who lack a little strength, so once in a while making a competitive play. I think that's where we're at in the perimeter with their offense and defenses maturing and being strong enough to make competitive pass breakups or competitive, third down plays that move the chains or stop the chains. But they have a lot of potential. I think where our defense will be better is, we can talk about the change. The two things that are really going to help the defense is so many guys are back that are going to be matured, and we're recruiting some talented guys to give us more competition, where getting on the field is going to be a little more competitive. The offense has had some competition. The quarterbacks in our draft yesterday were picked 20 because the second team guy went to the other team. So to the players, they were like, that's a wash. And they were picking other positions. And I think when we get some of these defensive kids we've signed, and I don't know how many of those guys play, but I think it'd be really great for competition because our offense has been more competitive in the practice mode and playing mode, and our defense has it. And I think everybody back on defense, and we get some kids like T. Gray Scales and a couple of these safeties and corners in here, Gooch and some of those guys, I think it's really going to help the defense.
Well, what did you do?
And I like Padmore's young guys.
Well, what did you do structurally to try and help the defense along this spring, if anything, in terms of how you approach practices?
Like in our clinic today, we went through to, for example, just our teaching progression of how to beat a guy one-on-one as far as staying on a block or getting off a block. Then how to make a tackle or break a tackle. You guys would practice this where we're just throwing the ball out there to see can you tackle him or can you make a guy miss. Into our goal line tackle where it's kind of a one-on-one and you either score or don't score. Then it got into sections. So we kind of did a lot of piecemeal of individual physical work into small group physical work and then into the team. And we probably did more individual and more group because it's easier to stay healthy that way. When 11 guys are flying around, you get all, what's well, little pile-ups in a cheap shoulder or anything. So it's a lot of individual work. We still do our run emphasis period because our offense is going to throw it. We do a lot of run to help the defense. They're going to play better run D. So again, we just we don't go. I mean, we slow down and practice a lot where we're not trying to go hyper fast, so our defense can line up and understand communication and alignments and I think that's one of the things I think the defense liked about it is that the offense was stretching them sideways, vertically, and running the ball and throwing it to everyone, but we were doing it in the way that the defense could actually line up, and it wasn't like a hectic, helter-skelter kind of thing.
What have you seen from Shane's development kind of on the outside? Obviously, he had a COVID place.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Good. We'll see as we move forward. Now, he's out there now because he's been inside so much. But at the end of the day, you know, like, not that he's the same guy, but Ryan Broyles in time went to several spots based on formations and situations, because the more you can heighten the chance of him getting touches. So Shane can come back inside and be really good, but just to learn how to read those coverages, and those routes are a little different. He's been very productive outside, had a good day today. And as our young receivers develop and our depth moves along, we'll determine, can he be stationary, or does he need to move around more? I think right now, if we played, the more that he and Tevin could be a bigger part of the pass progression, the greater the odds of success. Because if you throw, if Shane's 1 and Cornette's 2 and Tevin's 3 in the read, you know, 2 out of 3 could take it to the house, and that's good odds. And so you might see, it'll be interesting for Coach Johns and our offensive coach to see, does the whole receiver position come on? Because last year you could kind of leave spaces and it didn't really matter, or do you focal and try to get to guys? So been very good outside, but he has the ability to flip around. Very smart, loves to play. So did a great job with his captain pick. Probably the pick of the deal was when Cooper wanted to go defense and gave the other team the win. That was the thing, because he had that right and he made a bad call there. So that's what he kind of put his team on the 10-0 up the 8. That's something I'd do. See, y'all got to blame him though, not me on that.
What did you think of quarterback play today? Both
Okay, I think we got a little, you know, I talked to them both before the game. I said, now listen, I don't want to get into this, you know, to me, you're trying to be better than the defense you're going against today. I don't care if the other guy gets a hot hand or not, play calls, drop passes big, don't get into the scheme. You know, it's always when they get close to trade down, he can still make some plays running around. Nate's throwing it well, Trey's throwing it. I think they're both better than they were, and it'll be our deal to manage that going forward. Hopefully, if no one separates, I think the only thing that helps us is me being a lineman. I'm used to coaching a group, and I treat them as a group. But maybe someone emerges, maybe we get them both on the field. I don't know. I'm just glad they're both better than they were, and they're both two of the better quarterbacks in our conference. They played a couple, and we got a little greedy at the end of the first half. Went for them 4th down, we never go for it. Took a couple go ball shots, just trying to see if somebody can score, trying to have a little fun. Also try to put them in situations, see if they can manage it. And a couple balls got away from them, right? But they've been pretty good.
Would it be your preference to have one of them separate and just have a guy?
I don't know. You know, I mean, most teams don't have a guy that can play quarterback, and so we got 2, and you know,
Ideally, what would you like?
I'd like to win every game by a lot.
Ideally at that position, though. Ideally at that position. I mean, if you had your choice, would you want one guy, or do you like this?
Well, if you only got one, then there's a separation. You always worry about, you know, because it's hard to make it through the season with a guy. You know, and in our 2 of our first 3 years we were here, we didn't make it through the season, you know, with a guy. And typically that happens a lot. And I think, you know, Nate will be more mature, that you can run him a little bit more. You know, we haven't a lot. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I mean, I think you better be thankful and blessed you got him. And I think we need to be thankful that they're good teammates. You keep an ego in check. They both want to beat a dude. But at the end of the day, I think they love playing ball. And in our offense, you're going to get it. And we're not trying to make them happy. I think if you ask them, we're fair. We treat them both the same. And they don't like it a lot either because we're treated the same. Because it's, you know, we put a lot on that position. And because that position gets all the credit and he can jack it up. And you saw a couple of things they jacked it up. If we're playing, could really haunt you. So we put a lot on them. We ask a lot of them. But at the same time, I'm very respectful of their talent. I'm respectful of them as the people they are. And I think they handle a difficult situation in positive. And the great positive is they're both very talented. And they're both good kids, good human beings. So at the end of the day, you know, there's been a lot of years here, or a lot of places don't have guys like that. I'm glad we got them. And I think it's just our job and their job to keep the ego in check and just keep working and keep pressing, and it'll play out. And, you know, I mean, you can sit and say what you want to, but no one, I mean, I don't like when people say we score too fast. Are you kidding me? You score too fast. Scoring. You know, they don't take points off the board. We score touchdowns. And we score more than we've ever scored here. And that's a problem? Come on now. That's not the problem. And you can talk about in a game milking it down a little bit. Okay, yeah, I get that. But, you know, quarterback play and offense has not been the Achilles heel. And we got to get those cats lined up, getting off blocks, because the more they get us the ball back, think of how good the offense could be if they got the ball. And time of possession is not the offense scoring fast. If you stop them on 3rd down, you get the ball back for you. You get it back. It's a double-edged sword. But, I mean, turnover ratio is not the offense is turning over. It's the defense creating turnovers. It's a team deal. And the better this team gets, the better the offense is going to be. And that's what excites me about the D. And again, we better manage the quarterback deal good. That's my job, and I attack it in a positive way with those guys. And I don't know if they like it, but I like it. Because I like practicing with those two guys, because it's fun. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing. And that's why Coach can tell you right now, the problem with the defense, Nate Sudfeld is in Trey's hip pocket every day or vice versa. All right? If you were at our combine, Stephen Houston's numbers are as good as anyone that was at the combine. He got beat out because of competition. Okay, we need that competition on defense, and this team's going to take a huge step. And that's what excites me.
Kevin, you said both these guys were better now than they were.
It's not close.
Where do you feel like they've improved?
I think Trey is physically stronger, more healthier. He's over 200+ pounds. I think again he can really make some more dynamic plays. He gets a little off in his timing of throwing once in a while, but he makes more pass plays. Nate is unbelievably accurate and moving faster. So I think you're going to see a more accurate Nate, a more mobile Nate, and Trey's just bigger, stronger. And so, and there's a chance again. I don't know how you get two quarterbacks on the field at the same time, but they might be two of the best 11 guys on the team. And we'll figure that out as we go forward. Not that that's it. We're not going to be cute and gimmicky. Matter of fact, we're getting to a point that the offense doesn't need to be as cute. We had 4 or 5 decent linemen that probably could have played if it was a real game or a week or two away from playing. That line's going to be back. We got some big tight ends, some quality runners. We're going to throw the ball to every player. You got quarterbacks that are mobile, one very mobile. You got guys that really can throw it. I know Coach Norwood would tell you, we're going to make you defend it here. We're going to hit you in the mouth, and that's what with the defense. It's stressful. And it's fun. And when you have a lot of pieces, it's pretty good. So there's a lot of upside for the offense, and the defense is coming strong. What else?
You had Kenny obviously playing on both teams today. Looked like he made some plays.
Yeah, and what we did with that, close, like I got my guidelines, because I want a fair deal. So, for example, with David Cooper being on one team, that put Marcus Oliver on the other team.
Right.
A couple positions like Mangieri, Shaw, and David are all good. I didn't want David to be one guy's backup, so I wanted him to get, like, you played 2/3 of the game, you played 2/3 of the game, and you get a third and a third. It's the plays we wanted. So a couple of those guys will get the victory meal if they had a winning grade, if they played in a strong way. David, very explosive off the edge, can get a little out of whack, wanting to make some plays. Once in a while he might bust you not being gap sound. Nick Mangieri's probably one of the more consistent, talented, more quality players we got. Zach Shaw, it's really a very talented position. I know Coach Norman, when you talk about that, he's going to have to find a way to get those guys on the field because they're solid players.
How far has Kenny just come since last year? It seemed like he.
He flashes now. I mean, he's still a ways off. He missed. He was in a little car accident and got his head bumped and had to miss about 3 or 4 days of practice. So he's still young, but there's a lot of talent, explosiveness, and at the same time, he has to play hard because I think Coach might tell you Nick Mangieri might be maybe one of the most consistent kid on our defensive team. And that being said, David Kenny's one of the more talented guys. So that competition is what we like, and we're a couple bodies short with some freshmen showing up that's really going to help this football team.
You're having to retool the receiving core after losing 3 such terrific guys. What did you think of their play? What did you think of a freshman like Dominic Booth?
Dominic has shown some flashes. You worry about a kid coming in like that with hype and gets overhyped up. One, he loves to practice and he works hard. It's tough. He's mature. He's still young, so there's still some bumps in the road and hitches, but he shows a lot of promise and a very positive guy to coach. The receivers have gotten better. They're still maybe just, with lack of maturity, just not as consistent, making some of those plays you take for granted, where it's a competitive bang catch. Once in a while, that defender's knocking the ball out. So it's a position we got to grow, and it's a position with maybe some of our young guys like Jay Sean Harris and Corey Keel and Simi Cobbs that'll get in the mix. But we're going to throw it to them, and we got some guys that can deliver them well.
You only played Tevin 3 carries, but is that the intention going in?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just, really sometimes, like if Fan's coming up tackling, he's got to go low on him, and I can't tell Fan not to tackle him, and I don't like him going low, so it's just putting him in just as a risk reward. So like Tevin gets a bunch of work in the full go up tackle, and we just try to be smart. At the end of the day, we don't have sacred cows, but he's a good enough back that it gave a lot of work for D'Angelo it needed, and then split a lot of time for Miles Graham it needed, and we really like Andrew Wilson and Anthony Davis, the 2 walk-ons, so just split the time out. And it wasn't to anoint him with, you don't need the work, but it's just, risk and reward at the end of the day, because when he breaks in the field, I mean, he's a fast big man running through there. And those DBs, so it's just always been a thing of ours with running backs. If a guy's decent, you don't want to pamper him, but you just need to be smart. And it's just a calculated thing we do. And that's this day and age. How do you take kids that aren't that tough and get them tough enough, but also don't expose them to injury. And that's the one-on-one things we do in drills we do. How do you keep getting guys tougher, yet we're a little soft in the way we, the environment that we live in is still a tough game. And so it's just a common sense deal with Tevin. But that being said, we have to coach him very, very hard so he doesn't relax and drop his guard. So we try to take care of him, but then we ask him, he understands he's got to do so many things at a high level, because if not, it backfires on us. So it's just a little internal thing we just kind of work out.
Was Larray hurt, and what did you think about
He
the
got
rest of the
a
match?
hammy the other day, just kind of buckled in Thursday's practice, and he's been okay and fast and learned how to stick it. So, but see, he had a slight ham. He was one of the few guys that couldn't really go today.
What do you think about just the roles that you might be able to use the rest of those tailbacks? And they obviously came on and got a lot of work. What do you feel like their future?
Roles?
Yeah, what do you feel like you can use those guys?
Well, it'd be hard because of the travel spots, but all those guys between Davis and Wilson got special team value. Maybe some short yardage. You can see, like some of those times, like I went for 4th and 1, where you never do in a game. It's just like, can you really get this 4th and 1? And as we go, we've got to be a better on schedule 3rd down, 4th down team that we've been. So maybe those guys can be complementary, second backs. We don't have a true fullback here. Where Plogo plays at some. So it's getting a little bit of where you're not always running sideways in gimmetry to get 1 and 2 and 3 tough yards. And maybe Andrew and those guys can be that. Of course, Tommy Mester and Divine Reddy are 2 big backs coming in too.
Real quick.
Last question, Andy.
Real quick, I need to be better on 3rd and 4th down. I know you had some offensive linemen out, but drive blocking, are you seeing any improvement there?
It's okay, but sometimes I think schematically, that's where we can look, I think where Dustin's making point of just personnel. Where do we put 2 tight ends on the field, or a bigger back, or even 2 of them, and not to be gimmicky, but just to come off, and our defense is going to see that. So there's a point in practice when we get in the next preseason where I felt from the last scrimmage, there was just several 3rd and short situations where I thought the defense had the upper hand of loading the box, and it's like the offense needed to throw it more on 3rd and 2 than you'd like to. You'd like to just come off and slam that thing up, and I think the linemen will be better, but I think we got to look at schematics. You don't always just want to zone read and put it on Trey out there on the edge. You want to, good football teams can cram it in for 2 or 3, and that's your 4-minute offense. And the better you can run it, Andy, the better your red zone and tight zone is, because your throwing windows get compressed. And so the teams that really score a lot can really run in tough situations. And we're going to be we ran for 200 a game last year. That's 4th in the league. I don't know if we were a good, tough running team. We made some big plays. Appreciate you guys coming. Have a good one. Thanks.
Guys, we'll go